So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Brian Cashman and should the Yankees even bring back Cashman back into this next season. For me, it just doesn't make any sense to bring Cashman back. If you are a true Yankees fan, you have seen or you've been through the struggle that it is to be a Yankees fan the last few years. Compared to the Guardians or compared to any other market, of course, we're privileged. We get to go to the playoffs most of the years, right? And all that stuff. But if we put that aside and we look at our main goal, which is to win a championship, right? We've sucked. 2009 was the last time we won. And it was against the Phillies, and it was an amazing World Series. And I remember going there with my father and seeing and experiencing that moment. I'm sure each and every single one of you guys can appreciate that moment of winning a World Series. Yet the Yankees have yet to go back to a World Series. And for me, that is definitely a disappointment. Definitely a disappointment. And who do we have to blame? Could we blame Joe Girardi? No, he helped us win one. Could we blame who? Aaron Boone? Yeah, we could blame Aaron Boone, but again, who does it usually lead up to? It leads up to the boss. Aaron Boone is definitely not the boss at the end of the day, right? It is the people managing it. And I don't think Hal is so much into the business himself as the owner. I think it's Cashman that, as the president and as the GM, he's the one that's really making the moves and the calls. And it's the budget Yankees at the end of the day. Making moves like Donaldson, IKF, making these moves make no sense at all as a Yankee, right? You see what the Mets are doing. You see what the Mets have been basically buying. Yes, they choked, but they choke all the time. But again, they made the moves necessary so that they can be a contender for years to come. You can't say as a Yankee fan, you're not just admiring at least what Steve Cohen is doing as an owner and as a fan of the actual Mets. We could use some of that. I mean, at the end of the day, I wish our owner, Hal, had a little bit of his father in him to go out there and actually make the moves that actually count. And at the end of the day, I feel like it is Brian Cashman that needs to be moved in order for the organization to see any change. With a new GM, what happens? Usually they come on in, they eliminate everyone or eliminate the staff manager because they want to start their own thing. They don't want the past management to come on in there and take credit for if they end up winning. And can you blame them? No. I would really wish we could see Theo Epstein take over for Brian Cashman and Brian Cashman to retire. There were rumors that Brian Cashman wanted to retire years ago. I mean, could that be his thing? Could he retire? I mean, I would hope so. But at the end of the day, there's a good chance that he might come back. If Hal doesn't have the big boy pants, let's say, to actually go out there and make the moves necessary and to actually be like, hey, it's not just the fans saying this, but at the end of the day, we're not winning. And that's exactly what the Yankees are meant to do. With a 200-plus payroll, you must be making it to the World Series or at least advancing past the ALCS. And so, or like beating the teams or at least making it a competition in the ALCS. Come on. We got swept by the Houston Astros. I mean, for me, in my opinion, we should have got swept by the Guardians at that point because we struggled past the Guardians. Are you kidding me? The Guardians. Like, they had a $50 million payroll. Are you kidding me? And yet, we are struggling to even make it past a Houston Astros team. Yes, give them credit. They are a solid, young, talented team. Yes, they cheated. That will always taint their whatever they do in the future. And so, Brian Cashman, though, it always ends up back to him. We need to do something about him. I mean, you look at it. Yes, Brian Cashman gets us to the postseason, but a $200+ million payroll should get you to the postseason every single year. That shouldn't be the problem. It's the moves that the Yankees aren't making the obvious moves. We're looking at Bryce Harper in the World Series right now. If you look at Bryce Harper, you're saying like, damn, that guy would be perfect on the Yankees right now. A left-handed hitter and with that aggressiveness to go out there and actually perform. And it doesn't matter if he hurt himself or whatever. He wants to be on that field. Not like a Aaron Hicks that doesn't hustle to go catch a ball and instead gets ran over by a shortstop that's hungrier than him, and then he's done for the year. I mean, there's so many examples of people not hustling or not being there. Donaldson, don't even get me started on Donaldson. But these are all moves Brian Cashman has made, has us here in this moment where the Yankees aren't advancing to the World Series. And yes, the Phillies, they kind of actually weren't that good, but they just rode that momentum. And guess what? They had a manager change, and that helped out a lot. And with the Phillies manager, guess what happens with him? He gets the analytics. Yes, but he gets to make the final decisions. I don't really know if Boone has that ability. I feel like he's really, really controlled by Brian Cashman. And if he makes a gut decision, then he's going to really have to explain it if it doesn't work out in the Yankees' favor. And I mean, hey, you could get fired if you're not really following what we have in place here. It's really analytically driven, and I feel like that's what's killing the Yankees right now. You can be smart, use analytics, use technology, but at the end of the day, you got to also use your gut. You also got to use your baseball knowledge. And Brian Cashman, I feel like he will be better off in a different organization. And even if he stays in the organization, I feel like that's also a negative. But I really do hope he ends up going, or worst case scenario, ends up in a different position, but still that's kind of cringe. And so I really do hope the Yankees make an effort to move on from Brian Cashman. And on top of that, Brian Cashman could tell how, oh, look, 2017, that was our year. We were going to win, but then the Astros cheated. 2019, we were going to win, but then the Astros cheated again. That was our year. Maybe that's what got Cashman through the years and convincing Hal, but I really do feel like Hal is not just giving him a contract automatically. And I really do hope Hal sees this, hears the fact that the fans and just the people around him, anyone with common sense, could say, hey, look, this guy had one job to do, get us to the World Series and have us win. And for 20 plus years, he hasn't really done that. He's done it once. If you do that and your job, you had one job to do, right? Let's say it's data entry. You got to freaking enter that data, right? But for 20 plus years, you only enter half of the data. Oh, you're going to get fired after the first year, probably, not after 20 years. So I really do hope Hal puts that family aspect, that he sees Cashman as family, to the side and says, look, this is my father's legacy. This is our family's legacy. And it's in our best interest to move on, to get fresh pair of eyes on here. Why not bring someone from the Houston Astros organization? You see the Boston Red Sox did that with Tampa Bay Rays organization. Yes, it's not really working out, but I would say in the long term, the Red Sox are better set up compared to the Yankees. And so why not take it from the people that we're trying to beat? Take it from the Houston Astros. Let's see what that can do. Hey, their new GM is open. He left. Why not take a look there? At the end of the day, it doesn't hurt to change and shake things up, because right now, the way the Yankees are constructed, they aren't going to win anytime soon, especially if Brian Cashman is there, and especially if Judge leaves, and that's a whole nother video. But Cashman really needs to move on, and I feel like for him, it would be better for him to move on, do something else, and Hal, please, let's get someone different here.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.